So I'm halfway finished with the first season of Dear Black People. I'm kind of confused on why Black Twitter or Shea Butter Twitter isn't boycotting, this movie or have a complaint. They've been crying about Gorilla and Detroit having white or non-black female leads, and they. But the thing is, with Dear White People is that you have a biracial lead who is the spearhead of her black student union, and it's a remake. It's really a prequel, um, in a remake of the movie, and the aftermath of the scene where the racist party. So there's a lot of flashbacks and there's a lot of in betweens and what happened afterwards. And there's like a huge divide within the black population to where you have these different black groups, but they don't really work together, and so they're trying to have all these organizations work together from the woke the woke community and BSU. Then you have like your poets, it's like some poet groups, and you have your uppity Negro middle class, and so they're trying to work together and fix the racial issues. Um, I really didn't, they address a lot of things. I didn't really like that. I didn't. They really did their best to push this gay agenda of you have this gay nerd who has trouble finding a love life, and he fantasizes about his uh his roommate, his cool popular roommate, and there's like awkward scenes where he's jacking off um to him. It's just really grotesque and it's really annoying. Um, there's the episode to where they talk about Reggie's issue with Sam being in a relationship with Gabe, the white boy, and so it creates friction. They're on and off friends, and my issue is that how can you expect black men to be, solely, even though she's biracial, how do you expect black men to be solely in love with black women when black women are given the privilege to be like, oh, well, I can be with other people, if I love them. And it's like, oh, now you're talking about love is love. But when niggas do it, it's like, and did you forget about your mom? Did you ever not think about her and how she feels you? And like it comes to this like Erica Badu, uh, Lauren Hill, you know, kind of a diatribe of, did you forget about the movement and shit? I'm like, yeah, but you look at you with the white boy. I don't give a damn if you bring the white boy to the black student union meetings. I don't mean shit. I'm like, how do you come in here biracial as you are, and then your union with this dude is gonna create more friction? You crying about all the wrongs that white people are doing, and yet again, you're still sexually attracted to them. It's like it's weird. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I guess it's the privilege of, hey, she's biracial in a black student union group, so it's technically not self hatred, but it ends up accommodating too much. It's like, okay, she's pandering to black people, but yet she's with this white dude, and it's like brothers are just kind of in the middle, like we confused, like, but when we unconditionally love you, all of a sudden it's like you don't own black women's bodies and shit. I'm like, but where do you expect us to go? It does. I didn't really like most of the episodes. I will say I do like Coco. She's uh the not so woke dark skinned black girl who who is an assimilationist, and she feels that she she has to prove so much that between both sides, because she has to prove that she's black even though she's not into the whole liberalism of, we have to make loud statements and shit. And then, but she's also very concerned about, hey, the dumb shit white folks are on. In the recent episode I'm watching, Reggie uh, gets a gun drawn at him on a college party because he got into an issue with a white friend over a song, and he uses nigga, and Reggie was like, "Hey man, you don't use that. You don't use it here." And I was like, "Well, it's in the song, And then some other white boy acts like, "Oh well, he throws in some semantics." And it ends up being a push and shove. Officer comes in, and the officer assumes that Reggie doesn't belong, and he asks for ID, and Reggie was like, "What?" And, he badmouths him a little bit, and then he kind of nervously pulls out his wallet, and he's shook up about it. Yeah, he's real shook up about it. So I'm kind of continuing on to see what happens, to see if most likely during the end of the season, Reggie and Gabe might become friends, and um, I do think later in episodes, in theory, I do think they're going to push the gay agenda a little bit more, and we might see Sam with a black woman, with a lesbian. I really do think they'll push that, since a lot of these characters tend to have bisexual tendencies, especially the males. Um, so we'll see where this show takes us. I'm not really too impressed with the direction of the show. Um, to me, it ends up being a little bit over dramatic. Truth be told, a lot of these black students in predominantly white colleges they're not really active, and they really don't give a shit about racial issues and things like that. So at times I kind of watch it with a grain of salt and be like, um, it's like, yeah, black students. I've been there with black students from predominantly white colleges, and they can give really less of a shit about racial issues. They'll get outraged, and they will let the gay white students do all of the work, and they'll just worry about partying. Truth be told.